Finding Calm in the Chaos. I am Denise Sith, and this is my podcast. Hello, everybody. This is Denise. Welcome to another episode of Finding Calm in the Chaos. Happy Wednesday, folks. We are kind of carrying this kind of like a part 2 from last week's episode of Goal Strategies. I'm going to carry on because I'm really, like I told you guys, I am tearing it up this week. This year, not even this week, this year, man. We're going to talk about goal benefits. What are the benefits of actually having goals in your life? You would think that that would be pretty basic understanding knowledge, but a lot of people aren't basic or understanding or have knowledge, like myself. I was like, wait, what do we need here? I always was a goal setter, but sometimes I had a little period of time where I was within a certain industry that I'm going to remain unnamed again. And where I got a little brainwashed into that there was some crazy stuff that I should be goal setting for. And that really wasn't what made me happy. It's actually what made my upline happy. Just saying. But there are 5 basic benefits to having goals. Okay. And we're going to talk about those today. It helps to really just sit down and structure whether or not these are things that will help you achieve your goals. And is it easy? No, because life is super distracting. But I think goals for me personally motivate me to kind of contribute to myself, to the time that I get to spend on earth, right? God has me here for a purpose. I want to make the best of it. And I feel like there are some times that I've wasted in my life, but you can't look back on that. You just kind of have to pick yourself up, put your big girl pants on and be like, well, hey, that happened. Can't change that. You can only look forward and listen to the path and kind of outline where you need to go. So we're going to talk about 5 benefits of having goals today. And I mean, having goals and working towards achieving them is definitely a challenging undertaking, right? I mean, we just talked, it's difficult for me to do some of that sometimes from all the distractions in life. And even if you follow all the strategies for achieving your goals that we're even going to talk about today, there's probably a good chance that there's still going to be moments when, the going gets tough and you feel like quitting, and such is life. But as long as you stayed motivated and you use those steps in order to achieve your goal and put down strategies to make your goals accessible, I think you're okay. When that happens, like, when it's time to throw in the towel or you're feeling pretty defeated, it helps to focus on how beneficial goals actually are for our personal and professional lives. I mean, this is just something that I feel is what drives us as people. And specifically, there are some top benefits, in my opinion, of having goals that I think everybody should keep in mind when they're planning them or giving up on ones that they already had outlined. One is motivation. Okay. Setting goals gives you something to aspire to, right? Which in turn serves as a strong motivator and push to always try your hardest. I'll say it again. I am not a fan of I'm doing my best. It is okay for you to recognize, don't get me wrong, that there are tough days and the best I can do is just sit on the couch and read a book to Peter versus I'm too sore or too much in pain to do anything else and I can't beat myself. Is it the best I can do? No, I can do way more as a homeschool mom. But in that particular moment, I am doing the best I can. in the given moment, so I don't have to reiterate the saying to myself. I think so many people use that saying, I'm doing the best I can. And you start convincing yourself that if you're always doing the best you can, but yet you're always in a crappy position, are you really doing the best you can? Because I always feel like there is always a learning opportunity available in growth in any way, spiritually, personally, educationally, hobby-wise, anything. Your communication, the way you interact with people. I always think there's room for improvement. I think when we don't think there's room for improvement, then we have a problem. You know what I'm saying? So is your goal, I don't know, pick it up, to be the best professional in your industry? Okay, well, that should motivate you to always show up and give it all you got in your workplace, right? It's something. So motivation, big one. Number 2, control. Goal setting means that you're actually recognizing and acknowledging exactly what it is you want in life. That's the first step towards making things happen. You don't want to let things happen to you. You want to set the goal, acknowledging what it is you want in life, and that's the first step into making it happen. Don't let things happen to you. Don't wait for things to come to you. 3, sense of direction. Goals offer a clear direction for your short-term and long-term future. Okay? Yeah, I don't know. Do you want to be a dentist? You're going to have to go to medical school. You're going to have to study hard, and you're going to have to dedicate your life to straightening or cleaning people's teeth. You're going to have to really like that. Lay it out. That also can basically convince you whether or not, or give you a strong indication of whether or not that's the right path for you. But definitely get your sense of direction. Number 4, clarity. Because when you set the goals, it's easier, like I just mentioned, to see the bigger picture, and you gain perspective on what really matters to you, not to anybody else, not your parents, not your spouse, not your aunt, you. Okay. If your goal in life is to help people, then you're not going to feel fulfilled, right? And if you don't advance your career or make tons of money, because you want to help people. So that may be less important to you. Obviously, it's important to you, but you know what I'm saying? You're not going to be feeling fulfilled just breaking in a paycheck. So you really have to look at that. A lot of people don't realize that. If you're in the business of helping other people, there isn't a whole lot of money in that. Sad but true. Number 5, focus. Right? Focus. This is me. Focus. Having goals help you stay focused. Oh, not only will they help you stay focused on day-to-day tasks, right? But when we think outside of the box about our dreams, they remain exactly that. Dreams. Think about that. So outside of the box, abstractly. There's a good word. Sorry, guys. You know, I'm always pulling at words here. When you think abstractly about dreams, they're going to remain that way. Dreams. Okay. When you have goals applied to those, however, it's easier to put in the effort to achieve them. And then you get away from the distractions and the feelings of being overwhelmed. Right? It's like, yes. Those are the things you want. However, you also have to understand that you need to take all of those things we just talked about. You need to take your motivation, your control, your sense of direction, your clarity, your focus. And then you have to set realistic goals for your life, whether that be just your general life, your life and your work life, whatever it is, okay? Because it doesn't matter if you're setting goals for your professional or your personal life. Get that right. It's important to keep them realistic, because otherwise it's going to be hard, or in some cases like impossible, to achieve them, right? An example of an unrealistic goal, okay? This is one of mine. Okay. When I was in that field, that industry, listening to all my uplines tell me about all the money I could make. Lift your ceiling up, Denise. Your ceiling is what's keeping you closed off. If you take the ceiling off, there's the sky, and the sky's the limit. That's true to an extent. But if your own income, my unrealistic goal was making, millions of dollars a year. And the very own income disclaimer from the company itself clearly showed that was never happening. Yep, all companies have an income disclosure statement if you work in that industry. Okay, for those who are new and don't know, I'm talking about MLM. So if it's not realistic, then you're never going to achieve it. Okay, a realistic goal is going to say, I need this. So for us, it's super important to own property and have homes outside of the United States where we like to travel. Okay. And realistically, that is a thing. We need to know what properties are, what the cost of living is, taxes, what it would be can we leave a property vacant? Do we have a property manager in the event that we want to lease it out? Realistically, you can indeed own properties abroad. We don't want them to be big and fancy. We don't necessarily know that we even want to rent them out. We just want a home. We may rent them out like maybe once a month or once every 2 months just to keep it, working. But to be able to have that for our family, to be able to vacation for generations to come and have a home and a place that we enjoy the culture and the experiences, and in some cases, family and friends. Yeah, we're all about that. And that's realistic. We know what we want. And now we need to, set up all of the tips in order to make that attainable. And so tips, those are what we need, right? I needed tips for setting realistic and attainable goals in the aspect of the life that we were concentrating on. Sorry, I was like, what? Consecrating? No, concentrating on. Oh my God. Okay, so I need a sip. I'm so hoarse, guys. It's crazy. I've been talking from some other stuff that I'm working on that I can't share right now. So, but it's coming. And so it's having to talk and record and all that it's a lot of talking. All right. So here are some tips that I've used to kind of set realistic and attainable goals. Okay. 1, consider your passions. We love to travel. We love culture. We love just experiencing other places and their ways of life. And so working towards a goal that you're not passionate about is gonna bound to be boring, and it's probably most likely gonna backfire, right? This is why it's important to consider your passions, your values, your aspirations, all of these when you're setting goals. If you are someone who's just not driven by material stuff, right? Setting goals to make as much money as possible is probably going to be uninspiring, disappointing. Those are 2 things I can think of offhand in the long run. So you want to make sure that you consider your passions in your choices. So I have a few more to do here. But I'm going to take a break for an endorsement spot, and we'll be right back. Hey friends, I want to talk to you a little today about our sponsor, which is Pet Matrix. Pet Matrix is a premium canine supplement company, and I chose this company straight off the bat for Buster and Chica. Chica is a 15-year-old Shiba Inu, and Buster is a growing large breed Newfoundland, currently at 17 months. Every ingredient that Pet Matrix chooses has a targeted benefit for your dog. Their supplements deliver natural active ingredients through a revolutionary process that they call cell matrix delivery. By applying science and including bioactive peptides in their human-grade all-natural recipes, they're able to target a dog's specific needs, plus provide the benefit nature intended. Now, I use the Think for Shika and Buster. It is a cognitive and neural support supplement. I use the Protect for Buster as well, and that is an immune and gut support. And then I also use the Move for both of them, Shika being older and Buster with growing large bones, an anti-inflammatory and mobility support supplement. If you want to check out Pet Matrix, you can check them out at petmatrix.com. That's PETMATRX.com. And you can use Buster Sith at promo for 20% off. Again, that's Buster, BUSTER, Sith, SITH, no spaces, and get 20% off your order. Hey, everybody. We are back on learning about and talking about goal benefits, the benefits of making goals, and especially those that are attainable, making sure that you're setting goals that are going to help you actually make them come true. They're realistic and attainable. So the first one was considering your passions. Okay. Number 2 is envision your future. Okay. This is harder because, and this is where like that visualization comes in. Where do you see yourself? And I know people ask this all the time, but think about it. Where do you see yourself in 5, 10, 20 years? Where do you see yourself? What does your ideal future look like? Now, I will tell you, in some instances, these are the things that I started learning in my financial evaluation, right? Redoing all our finances with Ramit Sethi. He's a podcaster. He also does financials. He's a psychologist. He's one of them. He uses psychology on why we have the relationship with money that we have. His podcast is called I Will Teach You to Be Rich with Ramit Sethi, and it's RAMITSETHI. So this is one of the things that he talks about. Like, what does your ideal future look like? He's not teaching us how to be rich as in copious amounts of money, and that might include copious amounts of money. But if you're spending it on things that don't provide you what your ideals are for a rich life or a rich goal, rich as in inherently makes you happy and fulfilled and engrossed in just fascination or maybe education or experience, okay? Then what do you really aren't living a rich life. You may have tons of money, but if you are finding that you're struggling, treating yourself to a vacation when you can clearly afford it, you're not really living a rich life, are you? And why are you putting all your money away? This is something that and it could be either way. Obviously that wasn't our issue. Our issue was not knowing anything about financials and having trouble envisioning our future when we didn't even know how to set up the financials for same. So it's a little bit different. We've had to do kind of like double work in this journey and work well worth it in the long term. So what does your ideal future look like? Take time to envision your future based on like who you are today. It's essential in setting those personal and professional goals. Okay. Some other questions to help you kind of like get it clearer. So I'm taking these are ones that I asked myself, but also that I had pulled from a couple podcasts. Do you want to work for yourself? Both Mr. Sith and I. Yes, we do. What comes with that? Well, providing your own benefits comes with that. Sure, you get time freedom and you get to work from home, but you also have to be structured with that, right? Because you don't want to work all day, but you also want to be able to work on the go. How much money do you want to earn? Ideally, We both have numbers, right? Would you like to work remotely? Yes and yes. Like we have a lot of the same stuff here. Do you want to focus on your family or your career? Both of us, family, with career in the background. Do you see yourself having children? For the youngers, right? Me, I got one. I'm good. Would you, factories closed. Would you like to spend time traveling, living somewhere abroad, living in a better neighborhood, fixing up your current house because you absolutely love it? Downsizing, upsizing, moving out of state. These are all things like for us, yeah, we want to spend time traveling, which is why we want homes in the places that the two places we really, really enjoyed being, because they were nice central locations where we can travel more in Europe, right? I mean, we're like, yeah, that totally makes sense. Like, we don't have to ever pay for a hotel unless we actually go to a place, but we have a central location where we can actually visit with people all summer and spend the summers there. But at the same time, take all these weekend trips to all these different countries. That's fantabulous. And it's so much cheaper to travel to Europe within Europe. The price comes from traveling from the U.S. airfare. That's where it comes from, airfare. So those are all things that you can ask yourself and question in order to envision your future. Okay? 3, note your resources and your potential threats. I used to just skip this step. I'm going to be super honest with you. I was like, this is nonsense. I don't need to do this. You know all that stuff. I love talking myself out of shit all the time. Think long and hard about the resources you have available that can help you achieve your goals and the threats that make it difficult. Okay? Sometimes that threat is you. Denise. I mean me. When I say you, I mean me. It's true though. Okay? Learn to use resources that include just time at your disposal. How informed are you about what achieving your goal requires? Are you trained to do it if you're doing that? Do you have or need support, funding, monetary resources, all of that stuff? Okay. What's an easy, it was an example I gave was just, we want to live abroad. How much does it cost to live in those places? What are taxes? We'd be making our own income. So what income do we need? What is the average income in that country, in those areas? How much would it cost for a car? How much would it do we need a car? What would be the travel that we would need? Utilities, stuff like that. How much is food in those areas? Now, obviously, it's going to be way cheaper than it is in our current area here in the U.S. currently, in the 2 areas that we're looking in. The cost of living is way lower in both places what we are looking at. But you have to work that stuff out. You just have to. And so there are, plus and minuses. You have to get it through. For us, our biggest minus is having empty properties. Do we rent that? Do we not? I'm not a fan of Airbnb. Usually when we travel, it's like VRBO, but do I want to just I can't personally take care of that property. I would have to trust somebody to manage the property. But would be my private family home. So there's lots of stuff to consider. And those are all things that we're looking through now. Number 4, reassess and adjust. So once we've considered the passions and the values, right? You've envisioned the future. You made a detailed assessment of resources, the potential threats. Now you can reassess your goals and adjust them accordingly, right? This is all part of the process. And it sounds so easy, right? When you just talk about them like this, but we struggled with this. Don't get me wrong. If this is like a no-brainer to you, hey, hats off to you peeps, right? You got it together. You got it together a step before me. Remember, I only talk about these subjects because these are all things that are just this revelation in my life. And I'm just why did I have to struggle so hard to do that? So I'm going to talk about it in case any of you don't want to struggle so hard with it. Here's what I did. This is what I found out. This was the process. Do what you will with it or do nothing with it. One of the two. You know what I'm saying? But just reassess accordingly. It's really easy once you break this all down and you follow all the steps. If you start skipping the steps like I was doing, it kind of puts a stopgap in what you're doing. There's something missing. You can't go on. Then the procrastination starts, or then I start over organizing another project because that one just didn't make any sense to me because I didn't complete all of the steps. So nice, short and sweet, but highly informative show today. And until next time, lead with kindness, but I'll talk to you Saturday for our coffee talk. Have a good one. Bye, friends.